All right, so I'm starting to stream, but I'm gonna mute us. All right, all right. Welcome. This has been a while coming. I probably need some more light on me, but it's fine. I have not been out here on the live stream in a while, so bear with me today. But I have a special guest. You can hear me, right?
Yes.
Okay, good. I have a special guest, Dennis, who is the founder of FAFO Gun Club and is very passionate about public safety, about Chicago, about flipping Chicago red, and just really just an all around good person who I've had a few talks with about some of the issues that we're facing here. You guys may have seen him on city council hearings addressing the mayor and our alderman, the disgraced 50. And so we're just going to chop it up today about some of the things that, we're concerned about in Chicago as far as public safety and particularly as women, black women. I feel like, especially in Chicago, a lot of us were behind the defund the police. A lot of us were very vocal about taking the police out of schools or taking police out of different environments. And I mean, at this point, it's kind of like, do we ever get to step back and question those decisions? And especially given that there's a lot of just a lot of issues with crime and violence in our city. And I feel like black women, if you want to be protected, and you got to make that call. Who are you calling? It's probably going to be the police, but in lieu of that, you also want to be able to defend yourself because clearly the police are a little overwhelmed in Chicago. So enough from me. How you doing today, Dennis?
I'm doing fine. Thank you for the invitation. I really am honored.
No problem. Thank you for joining me. So why don't you go ahead and just give me a little bit of background about yourself, like what how you got to this point and why you're in, this movement right now.
Well, it started during the pandemic when 12 uh, kids under the age of 10 was gunned down and killed during the by gun, not gun violence, by criminals using guns and stuff. So this happened during under the Lightfoot administration. And when Lori Lightfoot was mayor, she did little to nothing about public safety. So when he, it started off with the George Floyd riot. That's when the shooting and killing started, uprising. Then when Adam Toledo got shot and killed by a police officer, Lori Lightfoot and Adam Toledo's mother wanted the officer that shot him down. They want their jobs. They want his job.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the thing: the body can't. You have a 13-year-old shooting random in a little village area neighborhood. So somebody called 911. The police came by. The Adam was with a known gang member of the Latin Kings. So they were just out ranting, shooting around 1 o'clock in the morning. Now you were 13 once before, and I was 13 once before. We didn't go out past 1 o'clock in the morning,
Right.
but he was. But he was, and instead of Adam put the gun down, he decided to run near the alley with the gun in his hand. Now the body cam showed everything from point A to point B. If Adam wouldn't have that gun in his hand, he would be alive today. But you got to look at the environment he grew up in. Single mom, no father in the household, no discipline, no nothing. So when Adam turned around, he still had the gun in his hand. The police shot him. And that's what caused the uproar after the George Floyd riot. So it started caught my interest because I never was into guns at first.
Mm.
Not even when I was in the military. I was into guns. I was curious, trying to see more about it. But to be honest with you, when they took me out of the range when I was in the reserve, I was a lousy shooter.
Mm.
I was lousy. It's because of I didn't have no mechanics for me to shoot. So when I finally developed it, I said, I need to do more about it. I need to look more into guns. It caught my interest. So I did some research, did some studies about, gun safety, the gun laws. Uh, then I took it upon myself to go to the range and start shooting. My first time I shot with a gun, I shot a gun. I was terrible until I had to know how to use these methods called pistol grip, trigger squeeze, breathing, front sight alignment. So the more I practiced, the better I got. So I look into the Constitution, and it was in Article 1, Section 8, that we are the militia. And in the free state, we have the right to keep and bear arms against the tyrannical government.
Mm-hmm.
And our rights should never be infringed. So I started studying that law right there. And it was so ironic. The Illinois state constitution said the same thing about the U.S. Constitution. We have the right to keep and bear arms,
Mm-hmm.
and it should not be infringed. And it say certain type of arm. It just say bear arms. That's including an AR-15, AK-47, a shotgun, a rifle, and a 9mm. But we have a problem now because now we got people like J.B. Prisker who want to infringe our rights to bear arms by minimize us to bear arms. Then you have groups like Mob Demand Action. You have this nutbag called, his name is Davis Hogg. He's very anti 2A. And every time they demanded more gun control, more gun control, more gun control. So let's start off what happened during the pandemic here in Chicago. It was 5 people who died in the Washington Park neighborhood. Okay. J.B. Pritzker did not show up. J.B. Pritzker did not say nothing about how terrible that 5 people got gunned down
Mhm.
by some criminal that they still have not found yet. But what happened in Highland Park during the 4th of July event, it was a massacre.
Mhm.
Some kid, I forgot his name, he used an AR to gun down some people during the 4th of July parade. It caught J.B. Pritzker attention. They went ahead on and signed this ridiculous bill called the PICA Act, which is the Protected Illinois Community Act. What that does is ban the sales of 30 round magazine and AR-15s, AK-47, and automatic shotgun. Anything that's semi-automatic, they ban the sale.
Mhm.
Then what Pritzker and them want us to do, the one who had the rifle that's been grandfather, they want them to register the guns to the Illinois State Police. Now you got over what 2 million people in the state, 218 million people. I'm not for sure as far as the population though. They got 40 cars, and then they got these AR-15. They didn't. Most of them did not register it because then that means that Illinois, with the order by the government, the Illinois State Police could confiscate these weapons whenever how they see fit.
Mhm.
So the Democrats, they make our our gun rights, they making it so political. And you have groups like Gun Over of America, the Association for Gun Rights. I'm going to include the NRA. They got some issues, and the Illinois State Rifle Association and Gun Save Life. They keep on pouring money in with these lawsuits against the state, and they say, "Hey, this is our right. AR-15s are the most effective tools for home defense." And what they try, what the politician like Kwame Raoul, J.B. Pritzker, and the rest of the super majority of the Democrats, what they saying is the AR-15s are military style, and they still cannot prove how it is a military style. You cannot upgrade it to a fully automatic because it'll damage the parts of the AR-15. So you can so how can that happen? So now we're waiting for uh, the judge in the Seventh Circuit, which they're not reliable. They very anti 2A because they in JB Pritzker pocket too. We're waiting for them to see what would they do about this ban and how soon can it go to the Supreme Court. So it's going to be sometime in June when the hearing going to occur. But here's the thing, Nicole. Every time they pass these unnecessary gun control, they talk about we need gun control, gun control, gun control. What happened? It's another shooting incident or a so-called mass shooting going on. Every mass shooting, 80% of the mass shooting are by handguns, not rifles,
Mhm.
not shotguns, handguns. That's in the state of the majority of the mass shooting that occurred. Then you got to look at the crime rate. You got to see how that affect us. The criminals have access to the guns because they break into these boxcars on this train. They round them up, and they guess what they put them in? The black community to the gangs members.
Mhm.
They tell the gang members, hey, this is where the rifle, they tell rival gang members, like they don't like each other. They tell one gang member, there's a rifle. They tell another gang member, there's a rifle. Then they like, okay, now you got access to the guns. It don't have nothing to do with Indiana that Lori Lightfoot said. It don't have nothing to do with Chuck because because the sales was bad, so bad to Chuck, they finally had to close their business down. Indiana, you cannot buy a handgun, even though it's a constitutional state, because if you want to purchase a handgun and you a resident of Illinois, you got to present what? A FOIA card in order for you to buy a gun. They transfer the gun to the nearest gun store where you live at, and then that's when you pick up the gun. Not too many people don't cannot purchase a firearm unless you have a FOIA card and you fill out a 4473 form, and that's a background check. So when mainly the Democrats, they don't want us to protect ourselves. They don't want us to bear arms. And what they do, they use these. They tap into the emotional state of everybody saying, "Look what happened to Sandy Hook. Look what happened to Uvalde. Look what happened to Las Vegas. Look what happened down in Texas. Look what happened in Highland Park, West Virginia." They all use these scenarios to say, this is why we need to use this method called red flag law. They need now, Illinois is trying to pass a bill that's called a Gun Safe Storage Act, meaning you got to, what that means is you have to have a storage box. You got to take the magazine out, take the round out the chamber, put a trigger guard on there, put the gun in a box, and put the magazine in a box, shut it, and it will automatically lock, right? So here's the scenario. The minute you do that, you have a home invader come in. How long do you think it's going to take for you to take that? You got to key the combination, pull the gun out. He's already in there. You put the magazine in around the chamber. You be dead before you even probably get the gun halfway out. And the reason why they use that because they say it'll prevent kids from getting guns and shoot themselves. It prevent suicide attempt. Now they making our constitutional and our state right very so political that people are losing their mind. Chicago now is ranked the 13 years in a row as the murder capital of the
Mm-hmm.
United States. 13 in a row because you got you got these politicians who don't want us to have our rights. They want to infringe it. You have Pritzker, Brandon Johnson, that take away our safety. Probably wanted our lives to be taken as long as they have their bodyguards, have their details around them. They good. But
Mm-hmm.
they don't want us to have our rights. They don't want us to defend ourselves against criminals, especially women. You know why? Because Democrats and crime is a business.
Mm-hmm.
That's why it's a business. It's taxable. It's a tax write-off. Because once you throw a criminal in jail, guess what? They make what? 68 cents an hour in prison. But since Pritzker has signed the Safety Act, they have the right to leave. They will
Mm-hmm.
let them go, and they're gonna commit more crime. That's why I hate repeat offender, but I love dead offenders.
I mean, they've made it very easy to be a repeat offender, and you got to give a lot of that blame to,
Mm-hmm.
give some of that to Kim Fox and the Safety Act as well, like you said with JB Pritzker, and
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because like even I was like, oh well, that sounds good. Even like the Black Lives Matter and defund the police kind of got us all kind of swept up in it as Black women. The emotions, like you said, everybody playing on your emotions, but it's like when it
Mm-hmm.
comes down to it, all we're doing is, I mean, we've seen it. It's been a really bad experiment. We're creating a protective environment for criminals, and then the law-abiding citizens are afraid and terrorized and left to fend for themselves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. If you ask these anti gun activists, what the Second Amendment specifically say? They'll say, "Oh, the right to bear arm," or they'll say the common sense gun laws. It's like, no, it's a well-regulated militia to the security of the free state. To the people shall keep and bear arm shall not be infringed. That's what it say
Hmm.
under Article 1, Section 8 of the United States Constitution.
Yeah, it's
Now, they're not going, no, none of them ain't going to memorize that until somebody put their little secret squirrel earbug in and they'll repeat, somebody will repeat it for them. That's what they'll do. But here's the thing about the city of Chicago. They say crime. He said he bragged that crime. He collected 12, I think 12,000 or 1,200 guns last year off the street. That's what he said during his press conference, right?
hmm.
So if you take 1,200 guns, that means that it's called a buyback. So how many criminals did he arrested raw off him?
Right.
And then he said crime is down. You heard that on the news during his press conference. Crimes is going down.
Yeah, sure.
So okay, this how this what this is another tactic they use. They see in order for you to see what's the percent what the crime rate is, you got to report it. You got to put a report in to the FBI, and they do a statistic reading on it. And in order, so if the reason why he say crime is down because crime is not reported. Now, it would have been different if he didn't take ShotSpotter out the system a year ago, 6 months, 6 to 8 months ago. But he kept shot. He knew he was going to kept shot. He was going. He knew he was going to take ShotSpotter out. He said it during his campaign. Then he said it before the DNC started. Then he changed his mind. Say, no, we going to keep it up. Then after the DNC, he took it off. But
Hmm.
during the DNC, guess what? 4 people got shot.
Hmm.
Now you had Homeland Security, the FBI, you had CPD, you had the Illinois State Police. I mean, during the DNC, there was more. I've never seen that much security in my whole life, and I was born and raised here.
Hmm.
Never seen it. So now, don't get me wrong. ShotSpotter is an effective tool to use for the EMS and the police to respond a little bit quicker than dialing 911, but it's not a tool that will stop the shooting.
Hmm.
It's a tool to respond a little quicker, hopefully, to save lives. But
Hmm.
what Brandon Johnson reason was what was Brandon Johnson reason was because he say it's racism. Him and that socialist nut job called Byron Cinco Lopez. I call him Byron Psycho Lopez. He say it's racism. So then he insult the intelligence of black people because we need this shot spotted on here. And since it was more of our tools because we're taxpayers, it was not his to take down. But okay, let's say you take ShotSpotter off. What can you use to replace ShotSpotter to keep us safe? Didn't have an answer. The only answer he said, well, the reason why I took it down because it's racism.
And he was just at a WGN town hall where he was like, "Oh, I didn't do a good job of explaining why I got rid of ShotSpotter." And then he began to basically just quote that it was monetary. Like it was like we saved this much money, and hey, I don't. And he's like, "Well, we could have put that into officers or other alternatives and all this other stuff." But it's like you didn't have a replacement, and if you think you're going to convince people that they're okay to be lying, bleeding in the street, waiting on somebody to call 911 because it saves you a few $1,000s, like that's like where's his head at?
Do you really want the answer to that
Well, we know
question?
that he's
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
it's stuck up somewhere.
It's some. I would say some, but I'm gonna keep it PG. I'm gonna keep it PG for the younger audience, and some kids might hear it and then they say this man is cussing. So I
Right.
would call it his colon area.
But yeah, it's like, come on, man, you really trying to save a few dollars, like, and then the fact that you have no clue, like, it's very obvious, by the way you're managing the city and the budget already, and then like don't even get into the sanctuary issue and how that ties into public safety,
Mhm.
like people protecting gangbangers, from Central America. And it's like, y'all watch
Mhm.
Narcos on Netflix. Like, you seen what that lifestyle is like, and you really think none of that came over here?
Right. I mean, and that's a valid point you just made because you got the game. We already having enough problem with the local gang members. We have enough problem with the local crime, not here in Chicago only, but everywhere in the United States. Especially, you got these three major cities: Los Angeles, New York, and Chicago. You barely, you can get a gun in California because in the state of California they only allow 10 rounds.
Wow.
New York, you can't have a gun. You can't even own a gun, period. No matter how many times you take the CCL class, no matter how many times you pay money, they won't allow you to have gun unless you are former cop or an NYPD officer or you're a celebrity. Those are the only three things that right there that New York will allow you to have guns. Los Angeles, 10 rounds. And if you're in a shootout with somebody who got 15 to 20 to 30 rounds
Mm-hmm.
versus 10, what's the chances that you might hit that person unless you are is a hell of a shooter, especially from a distance?
Mm-hmm.
Illinois, they just slowly for surely is picking our rights away
Mm-hmm.
as far as that go.
Yep.
And then you got to look at it like this: three major city, all of them are blue. Citywide, three blacks: Karen Bass, uh, what's his name? Uh,
Oh,
Eric
Denver.
Adams,
Oh, you talking about
Eric
Eric Adams?
Adams,
Yeah.
Eric Adams, and Brandon Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
Three. Now here's a coincidence: three black Democrats mayor. Then you got Kathy Holcomb, J.B. Prisker, and Gavin Newsom running three Democratic white governors. Now, even though if they lose in a primary or they lose the general election, let's say they lose in the primary, guess what? You're gonna have the same problem. Three black mayors, Democrats, three black governor that's white, same problem. So we as black people, we have to stop voting for these DEI politicians. That's what they are, DEI politicians.
Yep.
They love the LGBTQ and the trans community more than they love the safety of Americans. So when they so that what that say is that we not only as us as gun owners and gun rights and gun activists, we 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 as human beings and we as American citizens, we got to vote these damn Democrats out of office before we become an endangered species with all the violence. We, you know, we got Tren de la Agua and you got MS-13, and now they talk about some kind of Venezuelan disciples that they getting ready to form up here in the city of Chicago.
Yeah, I
They
know
already
they're
selling.
separate from the Spanish disciples, and then it
Yeah,
says the
yeah,
Latin Kings have been recruiting them already, like early last year.
yes, yes, yes. We got enough problem now. We now what we gonna do? We got. I'm called when I was at the last city hall meeting. I called for us law-abiding citizens and especially women to arm themselves. And let me tell you something. Women's right doesn't mean abortion right. Gun rights are women's rights. Because guess what guns do for women? They save lives.
Yeah, because I ain't gonna be out here boxing nobody. Like,
I
it's
mean,
no point.
okay, let me ask you a question. I'm gonna ask you a question. How tall are you?
5'5".
You 5'5". A 10-year-old, can you handle a 10-year-old in a fist fight?
I mean, yeah, I think I could. I think I could square up with a 10-year-old. I wouldn't want to,
Uh,
but
but what about a 15-year-old?
is this a male or a female?
A male. A
Oh, a
male.
male. Yeah, male 15-year-old. Them hormones raging. No, I'm good.
Well, the reason why I say that, because no matter what the age of a male is, you won't be able to win a physical altercation with them because of the mass muscle and the height.
Mm-hmm.
Even in a domestic situation, you need to have a firearm. For women,
Mm-hmm.
I believe women should have the right to, bear arm more than men.
Yeah.
Now, during the pandemic, it was 40% women that, especially black women, that carry firearms. During the pandemic, that's 40 million people in the country.
Mm-hmm.
And what's the reason why they say that? Because it's getting crazy out there. You don't know where these rapists are coming from. They're afraid of being raped. They're afraid of being robbed. They're afraid for their kids because you're a mother. Somebody mess with your kids. What kick in? That mama bear. That
Mm-hmm.
mama bear gonna kick in, and you're gonna do whatever it takes to protect your cubs. And I think it's important for women, both black and white, to protect their loved one, protect themselves, protect their family, and that's how I look at it. Look what happened to that girl out there in Texas that got killed by the Venezuela gang member by Trin de la Agua. Lure her out. Now she
Mm-hmm.
was 12 years old. Lure her out, beat her up, raped her, beat her up again, raped her, killed her, threw her somewhere in a ditch or near a river. That was out there in Houston. Lake and Riley was jogging down there in Athens, Georgia. And here's the thing: Georgia is a red state, but Athens is run by a blue mayor.
Mm-hmm.
And this guy, he was a Venezuelan gang member, and he fought, raped, and killed Lake and Riley. So they put a Lake and Riley act out there. I think they should put a bill that everybody should have the right to bear arms without these unnecessary criminal background checks. Now speaking of the background check, we had to fill out a 4473. That's a criminal background check. What the Democrats want to do is they want us to fill out a universal background check, which it don't work because it doesn't matter. You can lie on that and say, I never commit this. I'm not a drug dealer. I'm not a psychopath. I never committed. It, they can, there's loopholes in that universal background check. So I'm not a fan of that. We already doing one, so that should be enough.
Yeah, for sure. Um,
Hmm.
and then I wanted to talk about too, just like a little bit about how, like, really how our attitude as women towards the police, as black women in general, is like a cycle. Like, it's like I feel like we were the main, like I said, we were the main ones who are out there screaming defund the police. The main
Hmm.
ones that will say, okay, well,
Hmm.
protect women, but then y'all didn't want the police, and then we're teaching our children, like we're the first teachers of children, and so you see so many of these kids now out here just like in the police face, like
Hmm.
arguing when they come into a crime scene. A lot of the women will jump in and they screaming and get off of him,
Hmm.
and like you can't arrest them, and it's like that. Y'all gotta let some of this stuff work itself out in court, and back up off the police while they trying to take care of arrests, because y'all creating such a dangerous pattern of like, who wants to come to y'all rescue if that's how y'all gonna act on the scene.
Well, my response to that is here's the thing. During the civil rights movement and before that, it was only 25%. single parent. Now today it's over 75 to 80 single parent. So there is no man in the house to have that structure for these children. Because believe me, a woman raising a boy to become a man, that's not hard. That's damn impossible.
Mm-hmm.
That's impossible to do. Because what this boy gonna do when you become a teenager and then become a man? He gonna follow. He gonna have that same. He gonna commit. He gonna have a criminal attitude, and then he gonna be psychologically embedded by saying, "Don't trust the police because the police is out to kill black men." Now I've
Mm-hmm.
been black for 60 plus years, and I don't have no problem with the police. I might worry about getting a ticket, but I'm not worried about the police giving me a traffic stop, doing a traffic stop, because one, you gotta use common sense around here. Everything in life is based off of common sense. And, like I explained to my nephew, if you get stopped by the police, don't go no further. The moment you see that blue light on your rearview mirror, pull over to the side immediately. Don't go a mile. Don't try to go to the the next county or state line, because then you fleeing from the police. Stop right then and there. Then B, turn the car off. C, make sure you have all your documents, your license, registration, and insurance. Have that ready. Then next, put your hands on the steering wheel. Roll the window down. Be calm. Okay? If they say, master your license, boom, give it to them. Don't say nothing. You have to de-escalate the situation, because
Mm-hmm.
because the cops is more worried about you got to worry about getting killed. The cops got everything: the gun, the vest, the body cam, all that stuff. And
Immunity.
then if immunity, yeah, well, that too, but that would be avoided if we use those common sense thing.
Right.
That's all it is.
But that's what I'm saying.
So,
Like you're the one who gonna end up in the jail or in the grave if you don't just comply at that time. And people get offended. We're getting
right.
offended by that when you tell them just comply. But it's like this: the legal fight with the police in the heat of the moment is not the answer.
On your side. It's not on your side. It won't be on your side whatsoever. So, but if you use those 5 or 6 things, pull over immediately, turn the engine off, put your hands on the steering wheel, be calm, roll the window down, make sure you have all your documents. Now, don't that will save your life much quicker than mouthing off to the police.
Yeah.
Now, here's another method. If you have your if you have your gun on you, make sure you have your concealed permit on you.
Mm-hmm.
And then the first thing you tell the police, I am concealed. They're gonna say, you do? Where's your gun? On my right hip. That's what I'd use.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have my license, my registration, my insurance, and my CCL.
Mm-hmm.
And and I'm cool. I'm calm.
Right.
And then either he gonna let me go or he gonna write me a ticket.
Right.
Anything else, I'm not gonna challenge it.
Right. Yeah, because I'm like, you can
Those
know
those
your
the
rights and express them, but you gotta at least be able to do it in a
mm-hmm,
calm way. It's like because you could
mm-hmm.
like when you have the knowledge and the power on your side, which knowledge is power. There's no reason for you to be getting like all up in arms and being erratic about it. It's just like hey officer, okay, what you stopping me for? Okay, am I under arrest? Like you can ask those
Mm-hmm.
questions, but if you start because this is what I'm seeing, like these videos, these people, no man, f you, and they all in his face, and it's like man, and threatening the police to their face. I've seen so many videos of that. These body cams, I'm sure the police are kind of grateful for now, even if they were. Well, there were studies that showed this. Like so many of the police were against them, but once they put them into action, they actually wanted them because it's like, oh, we don't have to do a whole lot of arguing about what happened on the scene. You can see it right here, and people
Mm-hmm.
are more able to see what they're dealing with. And I think of a lot more of these people who are very sold into the idea of like all the police are bad and all the police should be out of everybody's lives right now. It's like go watch some of them body cam videos and then come talk to me.
Yeah, yes, exactly. And everything that was bad going on is within the black community. And that's where the main crime is at, is in the black community.
Mm-hmm.
So if you look at 13% of the population committed 52% of the crimes. And where the majority, it's not in like in Streeterville, but it's starting to spread to Streeterville. The crime don't start in Lincoln Park, but it's spreading to Lincoln Park, where the main crime is in Austin, Austin Gresham, West Garfield, Inglewood, South Shore, Woodlawn, in those black communities area, because they know that some of them will get away with it. But that's where the crime is. That's where the shooting happened. Look what happened 3 days ago. A 14-year-old got shot at over there at Phillips. 14-year-old got shot over there at Phillips High School.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so it's not that it's the white man, it's not the police, it's the politician who are responsible to make sure that their constituents are safe.
Mm-hmm.
It's the mayor's responsibility to make sure that he keeps the city safe.
Mm-hmm.
It's our responsibility not to be stupid about things that we believe that we could get away with it, and we know we're not. So those things right there happen is going. That's why how things grew up. So safety is really really important, but it's slow. It's starting to disappear very fast because Brandon Johnson refused to deal with public safety. Then the only time that he gonna deal with public safety, the alderman's gonna deal with public safety, and the governor will deal with public safety is during the election. So it's up to us to put this public service announcement to every time they have a city hall meeting, every time they have a town hall meeting, that it's time for us, law abiding citizens, to arm ourselves. Because you lucky that it take 10 to 15 minutes for the police to come to your rescue. You better be lucky that would happen. Any other time, 40 minutes. Now that's it. Now by the time that the police come, they all they can do is write a report, put a report down.
Mm-hmm.
And since they defund the police, you only got but what 3,000 police in the city of Chicago patrolling this area. 3,000 versus what 7 to 8 million in the city of Chicago,
Mm-hmm.
and then you don't have shot spotters. Some of us are not even armed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you take a listen to the scanner radio, just on
Mm,
any any given night, you can hear the backlog. It's crazy. It's like,
it is.
yeah, domestic, all types of stuff. You calling them
Mm-hmm.
and you think it's somebody coming to come get you and help you. Like it might be
Mm-hmm.
too late.
Yes. And the Democrats know this.
Mm-hmm.
Lori Lightfoot know this. Brandon Johnson know this. The 50 aldermen, they know this. It's because the police are under budget, undermanned, and they doing 12-hour shifts.
Mm-hmm.
Their lives is just as much in danger, as much as dangerous as our lives are if we don't have a gun on us.
Yep. And there was
Yeah.
there was this article I had pulled up on that popped up on my X feed about how can you be a cop in a city that hates you, and I believe it was the FP, the Free Press. But it's
Mm-hmm.
basically this guy is telling a retired police sergeant Nick, I'm sorry, Rick Negro,
Mm-hmm.
Negro, Nigro. But he's just basically telling it like it is about how like everything's against Chicago police. You got the consent decree, you got
Mm-hmm.
the mayor and everybody who's been down talking, the politicians. You got the Safety Act, you got uh
Compa.
COPA. He said there's like three oversight committees. I didn't even know there's a non-citizen one. Like, so you're not even.
That that's Copa right there. They not they that's you say non-citizen?
Yeah, it's so. Hold on, let me. I wanted to say I could share the screen, but if I can't, I'm just gonna show it to you. Let me see real quick if I can share it. So hang on.
Okay. I see it.
You can see it.
Yes.
Okay, it's not showing on the stream though, but I'll worry about it later. Let me see if I can go back to it. I don't know why it's not letting me see it on the stream. All right, but anyway, yeah. So he basically said it's like three of them. Yeah, a non-citizen advisory council. I didn't even know. He says there is in fact that since then there is the fact that since 2019 the department has been under the 236-page federal consent decree, which we said that followed a lawsuit won by Black Lives Matter in Chicago and other activists, which Black women were heavily a part of. Um, but yeah, there's the 20. He said there's 22 civilian councils, one for each police district, tasked with moving grievances up the chain. The non-citizens, and then non-citizens, regardless of immigration status, get to contribute their perspectives and experiences through a first of its kind non-citizen advisory council. So let me see if I can just pull that up. Yeah, interested in serving. So this is on the City of Chicago's website. Interested in serving on the Non-Citizen Advisory Council. The Community Commission for Public Safety and Accountability has established a non-citizen advisory council, a volunteer group of Chicago residents who advise the commission to ensure that the perspectives and experiences of non-citizen and new Chicagoans are represented in the commission's work. So all Chicagoans, regardless of immigration status, are encouraged to apply. They will not be required to disclose their immigration status or share private information voluntarily with any government agency. So they don't have to share what they want to share, but they get to give input into what the police do on top of all the other oversight.
Oh, so this is under the part of that sanctuary status then,
Yeah, it could
basically.
be. Yeah, the term. Yeah, so they say they can serve on the council for 2 years. Um,
They they barely could speak. They can't even speak English.
That's what I'm saying.
So
And then you go like it's this is bad. Like this is so bad. So yeah, that
it's
just goes to show you like literally it's like an onslaught, and then you wonder why you have these all these suicides, and then officers leaving the department to go to other cities after they pass whatever their training is. They don't want to be here
hmm
because who wants to live like that? You are, yeah, here it is. Given all that, perhaps it's no surprise that Chicago police are struggling with a suicide rate that is more than 60% higher than the national average from a 2017 report from the Justice Department.
and a week ago, a police officer from Chicago
Mm-hmm.
had committed suicide.
Yep.
So it's more like, damn our lives, damn the safety, you know. So basically, if I can analyze this, what it's saying, if the police are saying, well, if that's the case, we'll take our time with going to the crime scene because the police gonna face it. If the police do their job, which they should, but
Mm-hmm.
Superintendent Snell act like he don't have no balls to go toe to toe with the mayor. It's just like a DEI mayor, DEI city councilman, DEI police superintendent. They not doing what you talk about blackness. He's talking about, well, I'm a descendant of slavery, but we don't want to be a descendant. We want to live our life accordingly, and we should not be fearful to step out the street. We should not be fearful for our children to go outside and play. Now they can't do that no more because they're worrying about a bullet hit them. So it's like, damn if you do, damn if you don't. If you're the police, what the police gonna do? They probably gonna take their time going to a crime scene. They probably gonna take their time finding a criminal. They probably gonna take their time to. They can't reduce the crime rate. That's one thing they can't do. It's not enough. It's not enough police officer in the city of Chicago. And because another thing is, and what I believe is, Brandon Johnson had did a hiring freeze on all city workers, including the police.
Yeah, I mean,
So,
he definitely didn't hire enough police, but I will say though, I do have to defend Snelling and the police because like I said, I listen to the Scanner Radio and we just were at the Ariana Preston's
mhm,
memorial. It's a I mean, you of course you're going to have some bad apples, but I feel like overall the cops that signed up, like you got to think about it, knowing everything that's wrong with the police now and still getting up every day, you know what I'm saying, with and knowing
mhm,
what you're facing, especially in Chicago, I feel like you either have to be extremely, in it for the wrong reasons or extremely in it for all the right reasons. You know what I'm saying? Like it's no middle ground. I don't think you can get up every day and go put on that uniform and take that oath and pledge every morning or every day and then just like half-ass it because you would be putting yourself in danger
mhm.
half-assing it and being slow to respond. I mean, because you get into a scene and people are already irate. And like I said, I definitely get the feeling from Snelling that he's doing what he has to do to lead the police department and make sure he stays in that position because I feel like he cares like about his department and about the city. So I would say I get what you're saying, like, but he knows who hired him, and ultimately I feel like he knows he's the only buffer between that progressive shit and what needs to happen as far as public safety.
I'm not saying that he's a bad superintendent. I don't know him that well, but like I did McCartney, Weiss, and the last. I think all these police superintendents are good. I'm not mad about that. I believe that he need to stand up against the mayor if he do a press conference. Here we go with another, like, if I was a police superintendent, all this happened because we're lacking manpower. And the one who got stopped this hiring freeze is Brandon Johnson. Because Brandon Johnson said the minute he run for mayor, when he get elected, he gonna defund the police. Mission accomplished on that. But before anything else, it's our fault for voting for this. We did vote for this chaos.
Mm-hmm.
We voted for this chaos. I I believe he is a good superintendent. I believe there are a lot of good cops there. And but the way that they vilify the police, I don't blame them for leaving the force. I would do the same thing. Fuck this. Let me go. Let me go to a place that I can feel appreciated to do my job and protect my community. And there's a lot. I interact with a lot of police, and they are good-hearted people. They are tired of the political crap that Pritzker is doing and Brandon Johnson is doing.
Mm-hmm.
That's all. I mean, I believe I'll put a. I would mean I probably might lose my job, but I'll say the reason why ShotSpotter is down because the mayor don't want you all to be safe.
Yeah, I
That's how
mean,
I look at it.
yeah, I mean, he definitely has made it clear that he wants he wants to save money for what his other causes, which is basically all vanity projects because the affordable housing is not so affordable, and if keeping investing in Chicago, has been so many agencies and nonprofits who come up and say, well, we were trying to get some of that money, but you sending money to your family members and people you cool with.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Mm-hmm. I mean, and Brandon Johnson don't understand that it's going to get hotter, and the crime going to go up. Crime will go up. Here's the thing about this right here. Illinois has this. Illinois could confiscate your gun without you using your gun, and that's called red flag laws. And what red flag laws is that like, let's say for instance, you have a neighbor that don't like you, right? But your neighbor know you have a gun. Your neighbor could call the police saying this person will lie on you, saying that you have a gun and I'm feared for my life. Now you minding your business. You know the police could knock on your door and ask you to surrender your gun for this so-called investigation.
Hmm.
And you know how long it takes for you to you don't even know when you're going to get your gun back. You don't even know if you're going to get your gun back because of this silly red flag laws.
Right.
Yeah, they confiscated one guy gentleman gun last year because it was a mob group on the west side, and he brandished it off. He put the round in the chamber, and he in a sense backed the crowd up. But since we under this red flag law, they confiscate his gun. He haven't got his gun back in almost a year now.
Right.
So yeah, so you got red flag laws. You got the PICA Act here. You got now they get ready to pass the Safe Storage Act. You got all these gun control laws and act to not the criminals. It's
Right.
not going to stop crime. It's about controlling us. That's what gun control is.
Yeah, because criminals don't care about the law already, so I don't know why adding one or two more is gonna change anything.
Then right. All it's going to do is make it worse for law-abiding citizens.
Right. Yeah. Just like there was this woman who shot a intruder coming in her daughter's window, I want to say like last year in South Shore, and they took her
Yep,
gun away.
69th and Oglesby.
Mm-hmm.
69th and
And what they had to take
because
her gun away for like 2 days or something like that. And I think this guy probably went
no,
on.
they took it that same day.
Well, I'm
They
saying, but
took it the same.
they keep it for like 48 hours or something, right?
Nope. No, under the red flag law, it don't have to be 48 hours.
So how long do they take
They-
it?
As long when as long as it takes, they don't have to under the red flag law, they don't have to return it until they get ready to return it.
Yeah.
But you might as well just save your money by get ready to buy you another gun. And this and now this is what important. I encourage everybody who do have firearm, get firearm insurance. Some of them, if you in a defensive shooting situation, call your lawyer. I'm a member of USCCA. So if I'm in a defensive shooting incident, before I call the police, I'm gonna call my lawyer and let them know what happened. And since they know Illinois is a red flag law state, so they will reimburse the value of the gun to you, so you can buy you another one.
Mm.
And the reason why I encourage people to get firearm insurance because if you shoot the criminal, they love lawsuits, especially blacks. They love lawsuits. They will sue you. It's not the fine. It's a mental headache and a financial headache you don't want to go through
Mm-hmm.
with that. They will sue you, especially here in Chicago. So I'll go with USCCA. There's one called Right to Bear, Legal Shield. There's a lot of firearm insurance that you can go to. Not only that will defend your rights, they will help you with your civil lawsuit. You can beat the criminal, but what's the chance that you'll beat the civil lawsuit? Because
Mm-hmm.
the first thing they'll say is you didn't have no, you could have called the police. You didn't have to shoot them.
Mm-hmm.
You could have get let that person get away with it. You can get it back. Well, what about if they take your life? You can't get that back.
Right. Right,
So
and it's
I
the
ain't,
same
yeah.
thing with like the Dexter Reed and the settlements and all that stuff. It's just
Mm-hmm.
emboldening the criminals, and it's a payday for some of these people. They don't care about their reckless relative getting wiped off because they not even have they don't have any accountability. So it's like, yeah, a lot of people looking at this as
Mm-hmm.
a payday. The Ben Crumps and these civil rights attorneys.
Mm-hmm.
They wait until somebody die
Yeah.
to do something like Zoe say.
Mm.
Right.
Yeah. Now, in that situation, Ben Crump ain't gonna come. But he'll come if you wear a badge and you shoot a black person.
Mm.
You know, that's one thing. Ben Crump, that's another thing. I'm glad you brought that up. You got the people like Ben Crump, Roland Martin, Al Sharpton, who else? Uh, Jesse Jackson. You got all these people here. And then they'll come. You didn't have to shoot him. You didn't have to, he didn't have a knife. He only had a knife. Don't bring a knife to a gunfight then.
Yeah.
Oh, you didn't have to shoot him like that. Is there a bet? You give me a better suggestion. Because the only suggestion I know is to put a hollow point in there. That's the only thing I can tell. But I remember that very well when it got on the news. I remember uh, a criminal trying to take a gun from an off-duty Chicago police officer,
Mm.
and then uh, three months ago there was a shooting incident on the west side that two guys, one was 42 and the other one was 20, trying to rob a garbage man.
Mm.
And they trying to take his gun. One got killed. That was the 42-year-old. And the other one, he was laying up in the hospital suffering because of that hollow point in him.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm so if that can happen at 2 or 3 in the morning, it can happen right here in broad daylight. And these immigrants, these illegals, they are bold. They are bold. They'll ride a bike and cut in front of you. They'll ride a bike on the sidewalk, and guess what? They'll snatch your purse or snatch your cell phone from you, and you won't have time to react.
Mm-hmm.
Now they put like garbage cans in the street, and if you come out and move them, that's their opportunity to rob you.
Mm.
So it's really important that we really need to defend ourselves, especially women.
Mm-hmm.
Women, I believe, is more of a bigger target than a man.
Oh,
Cause
absolutely. It's a lot of
yeah,
scared, young punks out here that just feel like, well, I take my chances with this woman because I feel like she gonna be the easier target. And then if you look at,
mm-hmm,
unemployment rates in our community, it's more likely that a woman's gonna have the job and the money that you run up on the street than a lot of these guys sometimes. So it's like it's a lot, to
mm-hmm,
factor in as women. So we got a lot of nerve being out here acting like we don't need protection from whatever men that are willing to give it, including the Chicago police.
exactly. And so here's another thing these activists will say: well, there's no job, that's why there's crime. Okay, here's the thing: poverty don't create crimes. Crimes create poverty. There's no both ways. In order for you to be if you live in a poverty neighborhood that's in poverty, guess what? That means the criminal going bring it down.
Mm-hmm.
They'll rob the liquor store, the gas station, a random person pumping their gas, uh, things like that. So it's like poverty don't create crimes. Crimes create poverty in the black neighborhood.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And there, yeah, yeah. So not only now here's my thing. Not only the politicians obviously should be held accountable for the crime, the churches are responsible too. You got About every per square block, every block, there are about two churches, two or three churches in a 1 block radius. Where they at beside barely on a Sunday.
Yeah, and then they were some of the loudest voices for defunding the police and raising. There
Mm-hmm.
were studies on that about how they raised the rhetoric for Black Lives Matter and the George
Mm-hmm.
Floyd and everything that we're going through right now with where everybody has Trump derangement syndrome and they can't see the actual issues right in their face because they're too busy looking at Trump all the way in the White House and not realizing that he's done nothing directly to you. Like the people doing the direct things
Yeah.
to you, you can't even see them. I need y'all to wake up. But yeah, it's definitely the churches need to get some of this blame too, because they a lot of those
Mm-hmm.
pastors and like Chicago Flip Ribbon out there protesting Rainbow Push. A lot of these
Mm-hmm.
NGOs and private donors, they all go hide in their gated communities or in their houses way out with their or they got their police detail and their private security, like you said with Brandon and the rest of them. And they can say that because they feel like they're protected, but they gonna leave you out there to dry.
Mm-hmm. That's true. And now they more mad. Now that is a key point, what you just say, Ralph Hand. Look, you got the Black Lives Matter who, with Antifa, and now that's causing chaos. Now you got the Palestinian protester, you got the abortion right protesters, you got the people who protesting for Ukraine. You got all these people who protested. Some of them are carrying weapons.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them carrying weapons that you don't know. So that's another thing. And then you got to look at the kids here that look what happened in Streeterville. If that's not an example of public safety that are lacking, I don't know what it is. But you had a 14-year-old that shot a 15-year-old in Streeterville. A woman with her baby got shot, and she's not from Illinois. She
Mm-hmm.
was from Connecticut,
Mm-hmm.
touring the city.
Mm-hmm.
Then you had a Venezuelan that robbed a lady at gunpoint.
Mm-hmm.
Now, just imagine if, well, within the section of 15, what if the two ladies had a gun and used it on them criminal?
Mm-hmm.
One woman got shot, one wouldn't be robbed. And then here's another thing: these business that's downtown, like the restaurants and stuff, you can't even go in with your firearm because they got these
Gun free zone.
the gun free zone,
Mm-hmm.
right? But it's not city or state legislature. Those are business. That's a
Mm-hmm.
business thing. That's not through the politics. That's
Mm-hmm.
not through no legislature about for the gun free zone.
Mm-hmm.
You know, even a kid, even you can't even carry a gun inside the school, even though you concealed and everything. They won't let you in.
Mm-hmm.
They won't let you in. But what if there's a shooting on the playground? What these security that's not armed going to do? They
Right.
go run and hide, talk on the radio, and then they're going to dial 911. A,
Right.
a third or fourth grader would be shot and dead.
Yep. Yep. And then someone, I don't know who I was talking to, but someone was just saying like they really do need to have like a police detail specifically from I think that was we were at a talk and I think Paul Vallis was saying this about how they could have took some of this money that they got for these private security companies and just put it into hiring more police, and then you can have a specific police detail that goes on the trains, because nobody, and
Hmm.
because the CTA is failing, it doesn't have enough money. They're expanding the rail line further south, which I don't know what that's going to do for crime, but my guess is it's probably not going to get better. And then and then you want to know why you don't have enough riders to keep the revenue flowing. It's like because people don't want to get on there, they scared for their
They're
life.
not. They're not safe. They're not safe.
Yeah.
They're not safe. You got people getting robbed on CTA. You got people
Stabbed.
get stabbed on CTA. You get people who get shot on CTA. You
Mm-hmm.
get people who get um, destroyed by a group of animals that just want to attack either an elderly woman or another teenager or something, just for fun. It was a shooting incident last year on the Blue Line. This man shot four homeless people. Four homeless people.
Mm-hmm.
And guess what? They didn't know they was gonna get shot because they was asleep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So yeah, we need to do something because it's we're losing so much revenue in the city because of the crime, and then like
Mm-hmm.
we getting taxed, and a lot of women are leading their own homes and paying these taxes and bills themselves. So it's like y'all gotta, this is not. You gotta see the trajectory. You gotta see that this is like a self. It's just a cycle that you're perpetuating that's not helping you at all. Like you gotta stop listening to these lying ass politicians, honestly, and do
Right.
some due diligence yourself, and really stop being emotional and look at the results of everything. But yeah,
Right.
we're gonna have to wrap this up. But I appreciate everything that you have given. If you got any last remarks, anything that you have going on, you want to promote, where we can find you.
Well, yes. You can find me on Facebook. You could go on my Facebook page, FAFO Chicago Gun Club on Facebook. You could email me at chef_2a at yahoo.com. Uh, and I will put my number. Matter of fact, I'll put my number on your page. My number is 312-887-9998. That's 312-887-9998. If you need any question about applying for your FOI card, or if you do have a FOI card and concealed permit and you want to go and do some training, I would do it. I don't charge for the training. I cannot do the concealed because I'm not certified yet in the state of Illinois. So if you need any information, I'll be happy to pass it down to, well, Nicole, you have my number. You can pass that down, and my email address too as well.
Yeah, I'll link it all in the description when I get a chance. But anything else you want to add before we go?
For women, I would like to wish y'all a happy Mother's Day. You too, Nicole.
Thank you.
And and remember, women, women's rights are gun rights.
That's right. We got to protect ourselves, protect our babies. Happy Mother's Day to all the women out here, and those who are mothers to someone, because we all do have to take on that role sometimes. And thank you, Dennis, for sharing your wisdom and really being somebody who cares about our community and cares about Chicago, and being a leader, because we don't have enough of that. And so I appreciate everything you're doing, and I encourage anybody who needs that assistance to reach out to you. If y'all know how to help him get that concealed carry certification for teaching, go ahead and link that too, and talk about that in the comments as well. But y'all stay
Yes.
safe, and y'all
And
have a great
one
weekend.
more thing.
Oh
One
yeah.
more thing. When we get together, I'm gonna videotape you shooting your gun.
Oh Lord. Okay.
Yeah, you got this, girl. You got this. You know you got this. You got this.
I gotta take these nails off
You
first.
woman. Oh, hey, whatever you gotta do,
Oh
whatever
yeah.
it take, I'll be happy. If hey, once you show that center mass on your video, hey, don't f around. You'll find out.
That's right. Annie Oakley over here. All right. Peace.
Your name will be Miss Pew Pew.
All right, y'all. Take care. Bye bye.
Thank you.
No problem.
Bye.